What is futurism? Futurism is what the person at the current time would imagine the future to be like. What they foresee to be the future. I have my own versions of futurism. You could see my video on electric cars. My prediction is that electric cars will eventually overtake the gas car in a certain amount of time. Watch the video. That is a type of futurism. Futurism is common with every single human being on this earth, like it or not. We all think about what the future will be like. Maybe it's a utopia. Maybe it's a dystopia. Maybe it's lovely. Maybe it's horrible. Everybody has their own predictions of the future. And this includes people of the past as well. That is what we call retrofuturism. Retro as in retrograde and back in time. My favorite type of futurism, because it invokes a feeling of nostalgia and peace within it, is 1950s to 1940s futurism. Late 40s, 50s, maybe early 60s. You can include those 3 decades in that type of futurism. In this era, the reason I enjoy this type of futurism so much is because that we were recently discovering nuclear power. Nuclear power was seen as a form of limitless energy and a way for us to reach Mars, the moon, colonize these planets without effort, and we will reach there rapidly, like that. We will get there immediately. And that was the outlook of the future for people back within the 50s and 60s, not so much the 40s. Rocketry was becoming very popular back then, and then became the space race. Space race was a race between the Soviets and the United States of America for who becomes the first to reach space and then who becomes the first to land on the moon. And this instilled a sight for the future in the people of back then. Of, well, we reached the moon, we could reach Mars. And then after Mars, we can land on Venus and colonize these planets and make them our own. And this was the foresight of people back then, causing people to have a very bright future. These bright futures were obviously not wrong. They had sights for it by the year of 2000. They would have flying cars and self-driving cars as well. Well, they got the self-driving part right, but the flying part, no, not so much. Maybe it'll happen eventually, but at the time of this filming, 2024, flying cars, they don't really exist. We got a helicopter, something. But what really fascinates me about the 40s and the 50s and that fact of retrofuturism is the fact that they had such a bright outlook filled with colors and brightness for that future that they had inside of their mind. They had it filled with colors, and their cars would be a very bright color, and the buildings would be super bright, all filled with neon lights and essentially useless technologies, but they were so many gizmos and gadgets. That's the best way I could put it. Not a very scientific term, gizmos and gadgets. But it works well enough to describe what I mean. That the future within the 50s and the 60s were perceived as a very bright future. Now, in the modern era, we have a more realistic outlook of the future. Our outlook of the future comes in by more realistic technological advances, not so much of we're gonna colonize Mars in 2 days, neither are we gonna reach Venus immediately, even though that sense of futurism is still within our hearts. Like it or not, as a humanity, we will never forget the fact that we always strive for the future. I'm gonna put some images on screen of what retrofuturism looks like. In this video, it doesn't seem to have a point, but the point of this video is discussing what retrofuturism is and how much more of a brighter world their vision of the future. And I just wanted to publicly share my opinion of what I think of retrofuturism. I find it to be a beautiful of what the future would have looked like from their perspective. Nuclear power is a perfectly clean form of energy. But back then they did not realize the fact that our nuclear materials, such as uranium and plutonium, are beginning to decay. We only have approximately 90 years of nuclear fission material left on this Earth. So that's why our future looks much more different than their perception of the future. What I believe the future will look like is a lot more green, a lot more trees, life, and solar panels, wind energy, wind turbines, the lot of it. Renewable energies. That is a reason why our future looks different from theirs. Their future was all powered by nuclear and fission and fusion. They predicted that fusion would happen within the next 20 years, but it didn't. We still haven't properly grasped fusion perfectly. Yes, there have been tests within the state of California that fusion has provided more energy out than energy in, but still not perfectly renewable source of energy. I would like to say that I enjoy retrofuturism a lot. It instills a form of nostalgia to me. And hence why everything on my channel, The Universe and You, is inspired by retrofuturism. Even the background music, which you are probably hearing right now. I can't hear it because I'm recording. But you're probably hearing it because I added it in post-recording, is inspired by retrofuturism. Everything I do is inspired by retrofuturism. Because I would like to instill that form of excitement for the future in you. Because you, the one watching this, are capable of forming the future into what you would like. Into a retrofuturism, or however you would like to enjoy it. I am personally fond of one of two types of futurism. One, retrofuturism between the 40s and 60s. The second type of futurism is a very cybernetic form of futurism. And the best example I could give is, believe it or not, the Tesla Cybertruck. That instills a form of excitement for what the future may look like within me. I understand that some of you watching this video might dislike the Cybertruck and begin putting all sorts of comments. Oh, why are you discussing the Cybertruck? You're not a car channel. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not a car channel, but I still like the car. Like it or not. So I enjoy that form of vehicles. Very jagged, very stainless steel, very clean form of the future. Just blank steel. It interests me of what the future may look like. Like that. Very expansionist to the stars, to other planets, and that really interests me. But I still wish that we would have stayed with the retrofuturism look. But this video is simply just putting my public opinion out there. I hope everybody here enjoyed it. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, gents, stay curious out there. Peace.